Hello there guys, my name is MrYorkiesWorld, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video, don't ask me what's happening with the red X's on the jetways, but we are here at Malaga. We're going to be taking a Ryanair 4459 today from Malaga to East Midlands, and look at the amazing weather. Got some nice shadows going on as well. Again, I don't know what's going on with the jetway, it is very, very strange, but hopefully this is going to... what the hell? I don't even know what's happening. Seriously, I've got no idea. But nevertheless, we're in the 737-800 today. I've made a few changes to the config file. This is literally 60 FPS as we are making this video right now. So, I mean, look at that. What a view. So straight into the cockpit, we've got the parking brake set. We can go to FS actions and input the fuel, which is going to be 10,003 pounds, 10,003 kilograms, or 10,003.98 kilograms to be perfectly exact. We can switch on the aft fuel pump and sort the APU out and get that started straight away. Apologies again for the lack of content. We're going to be 350 today, is going to be our cruise. We can arm the emergency lights and switch on the seatbelt signs with the wheel well light for the walk around as well. IRS as to nav. I've been incredibly busy, so I do apologise for the slight lack of content. I've been trying to get some departures and arrivals and things like that uploaded in the meantime. But anyway, so pausing it, we can go to Lima Echo Mike Golf. We're currently at gate 1616. We can go ahead and take the GPS position, stick it in there, and you just need to open the doors for GSX, or close them should I say, because the catering's finished. So LEMG to Echo Golf November X-Ray, which is East Midlands. It should take about 2 hours and 38 minutes. We're going to request clearance just to get the departure runway set up.
Ryanair 4459, expect clearance within 2 minutes. Roger.
So we've got to wait about 2 minutes. Again, I'm very, very sorry. I don't understand what's happening with the scenery. We seem to be having some very unusual red X's. I think it's to do with SODE, because for some reason SODE has disabled itself. But RYR4459 today is going to be our flight number. We're just waiting on the departure runway from Pro ATCX. Got some shadows on the go. I've improved those. That's the red X there.
Are you ready to copy?
We're ready. Go ahead.
Ryanair 4459, roger, runway 31. Clear to
So runway 31, that's 314. 8,000 feet on the initial altitude. So we can go ahead and put runway 31 in there. Activate and execute and go to the perf init page. Zero fuel weight 55.2. Our reserves are going to be 1.02. Cost index for Ryanair is 6. The transition and altitude is perfectly fine, so we're going to put 350 in as our cruise. We're going to use a 24k D rate with flaps 5 today. Centre of gravity 23.3%. The winds, let me just have a look. So 280 at 8 knots today. That gives us a V2 speed of 147 knots. Perfect. So let's just go to the departure and arrivals information. So we're going to select our departure, which is the BLN-1 Mike from runway 31. There shouldn't be any discontinuities, but we'll just have a quick check. No. Perfect. Looking good. So LNAV and VNAV can be armed. We can request boarding as well. And while that sorts itself out, I'm going to go ahead and put the fixed rings in. So Echo Golf November X-Ray. SODE is unavailable. Jetways will not animate. Well, that's fine. They already have animated, so it's no problem. 50, 100, and 150. Passengers are boarding now. That's good. I thought it wasn't working then for a second. So nevertheless, guys, I will catch up with you. Look at that. We've got shadows and everything now. I will catch up with you guys once the passengers are all boarded in this amazing 737-800 today with Ryanair. Absolutely love the livery. It's a shame about those red X's on the jetways. I'll have to sort those out at some point. It is to do with SOD, but nevertheless. I will catch up with you guys in just a second. It does tell me to open the door, but as you can see, the door's already open. So I'll catch you with you guys in a sec. Right, okay, so that's the passengers all boarded. We're going to go ahead and close the doors, close the cargo. We can get rid of the jetway, which apparently isn't going to work, but it clearly does. Yaw damper, window heat switches. Wheel well can come off. We can transfer the APU power. I'm going to request startup and pushback, and we can switch on the rest of the fuel pumps, hydraulics, anti-collision light.
Approved. Ryanair 4459.
Arm the auto throttle. And we can ask GSX to push us back. Swissport, and we're going to be using a tail right motion today. Everything looks to be closed. Set that to the takeoff page. I do need to disconnect ground connections, like so. Switch this onto the legs page.
Just waiting for some apron traffic while the tugs position. Be pushing back in a couple of minutes. Parking brake on, please.
So the parking brake's already set. That's all good. Look at that. Wonderful. Hoping the shadows and reflections will hopefully be fixed in this video. They were a little bit iffy in the last one, but I seem to have done a little bit of configuring, so hopefully things are all sorted. GSX is locking the gear. That's all fine and dandy.
Tug is in position, bypass pin is inserted. Apron's now clear, ready to push. Release parking brakes, please.
Brakes released.
Clear behind, commencing push.
And we can start the engine. So engine number 2 can be started first. Going to wait while 25%. And I'd say about there will do it for me. Shadows are still not perfect, but they are better. There we have the puff of smoke. Absolutely wonderful, look at that. So that's engine 2. We can switch on engine number 1 now, or start it up. And we can release some fuel. Absolutely gorgeous, look at that. This airport's not too good in terms of aliasing. There's quite a bit of aliasing that's happening, but there's not much I can do about that. I'm not on a 4K display, so there is virtually nothing I can do about it, I'm afraid.
Push now complete, set parking brakes, please.
Okay, so parking brakes can be set. Just waiting for the first engine, there we go. Both engines can go to continuous now. We can transfer the power. Probe heats can come on. Packs, switch off the APU bleed, and we can switch off the APU itself. We can set flaps 5 and set the trim. And as ever, we can see those flaps being extended. Again, it's just a bit of a shame, isn't it, about those red X's on the jetways. I'm sure there's a way to disable those or to fix the issue, but there doesn't appear to be a problem. The jetway connected and disconnected perfectly fine, so it may be a case of just disabling those X's or getting rid of them out of the sim or something.
Tug disconnected and clear, bypass pin is removed.
But nevertheless, that is an issue that's going to have to wait for another time, I'm afraid. Going to request taxi to the runway.
Request taxi.
Ryanair 4459, taxi via Romeo 4 Alpha to runway 31.
Via Romeo 4.
We've got an EasyJet departing on the runway that we're going to be departing from, runway 31. See if we can see it take off.
Flight is clear. Disconnecting now. Have a good flight. Away.
Just as it lifts off, just out of sight. Now you will notice a little bit of stutter, however, the frame rate is still, I don't know how to get Shadowplay to actually show me the frame rate at the same time as actually recording. Well, I know how to do it, but I don't know how to get it to actually show it on the recording itself. But it's around, I'd say, 48 to 60 frames inside the virtual cockpit, or should I say, like 48 to sort of 50, 55, maybe not 60, inside the cockpit, and then outside it's like 60, 61, 62. So it's really, really smooth on this new i9 9900K system. Completely not overclocked, and I'm not using hyperthreading. I've switched that off because it's been known to induce stutters with P3D. So I get a lot more smooth performance, or a lot smoother performance, should I say, with hyperthreading switched off, and as well, that does have those benefits of a lower CPU temperature as well. So nevertheless, we've been basically given permission to taxi to the runway. This is a fantastic piece of scenery by none other, believe it or not, than Aerosoft. It's the Aerosoft Malaga Pro, I think, or something like that. Aerosoft Malaga for P3D version 4. Look at that, we've got what looks to be, if I look on EFB, it says that it's the same as what we are, so we're a 7378, or 737-800, with Ryanair. And if we look to our right in a sec, we might just be able to see it land. Without the pillows getting in the way. There we go, bit of a hard landing, as usual, onto runway 31 at Malaga. So you will notice that little bit of stutter, but to be honest, it is still very, very, shall I say, minute compared to what it was on the old Chill Blast system with the 4790K.
Ryanair 9862 is cleared off the runway. Request taxi to parking.
Ryanair 9862, taxi via Alpha Golf 4 Romeo.
TCAS has passed, that's all good. 10:41 AM at the moment. This flight originally departed at 10:55 AM. And hopefully we'll be landing over at EGNX, East Midlands, at 12:33 PM Greenwich Mean Time. So again, our cruise level today is 350. We are Ryanair 4459. The flight itself is going to cover approximately 1,162 nautical miles, which should take us around 2 hours and 38 minutes. And again, we are departing from runway 31. Flight level 350 is our cruise. And by the looks of it, we may even be able to depart a little bit early. It's 10:42 at the moment. It's a very unusual taxi setup, this is. It's not this right turn, it's the next right turn. Onto Hotel Sierra 2. Which should take us to the third sort of threshold that this runway appears to have. So here we go. We can notify tower.
Tower, Ryanair 4459. Holding short, runway 31, ready for departure.
Ryanair 4459, line up runway 31.
So we could line up straight away, spool the engines up a little bit. Landing lights on, taxis off, strobes on. Transponder can come on as well. Trying to do all this at the same time as actually controlling the aircraft. It's not very easy at all. So we're looking at a 10:43 departure. Again, the original flight itself should have departed around 10:55 by the flight-aware flight that I'm going off. Runway 31 confirmed. Or verified.
RYR4459, wind 280 at 8. Runway 31 cleared for takeoff.
Runway
Brilliant, cleared for takeoff. We've lined up. Start the clock. 40%. And toga. Looking stable. Dead on the centre line. 80 knots. V1. And rotate. Nice and slowly. Deviated a little bit from the centre line there, but positive rate. Gear up. Look at that. Absolutely magnificent. We've got the buildings casting shadows as well.
Roger, Ryanair 4459, wind yield passing 700, subflight level 80.
A little bit too steep of a climb. Lock the gear and auto brake off.
Ryanair 4459.
Engines to the off position. Runway turn-offs are off. Autopilot in command and spam the intervene. There we go. And we are away. Looking good on the climb. We can start bringing the flaps up. A little bit of turbulence. Look at that. And flaps can come fully up now. Cannot go wrong. Look at that. How many times have I said look at that? If anybody can keep count, that would be absolutely fantastic. Got the cloud shadows and everything as well.
Departure Shamrock 584 with you at flight level 87.
Lingus 584.
Seatbelts to auto. Loving the clouds. A little bit of black flickering or whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure what's causing that, but it's not a major issue. It's not happening in the virtual cockpit very much. Got the buildings in the distance. 6,000 feet, standard pressurization. So yeah, the i9-9900K, it does allow me to up the settings a little bit, but I will make a video about it and make a video on my settings, but you will not really see much difference in my config or settings compared to the old system, because I don't want to go overkill on the settings. I just want to have a nice smooth sim. 210. Spam that intervene again. So yeah, a lot of people were expecting to see every slider to the max. That's not how it works. Just because it's a monstrous CPU, it will still struggle, because P3D was designed in the time where they expected CPUs to be a lot more powerful, essentially, than what they are now. It's a bit of a long story, but that is essentially how P3D is designed, which is why it's not very good on the current generation of CPUs, because it was originally designed to run on CPUs which actually are a lot more powerful, or would be a lot more powerful. So 10:48. We shouldn't have even took off by now at this time. We should have taken off around 10:55, so we're nice and early. 10,000 feet, landing lights just came off. Get the legs page up there. So that's the route, nothing too special. So without further ado, I will leave you with some amazing cinematics as we head over to East Midlands. Okay guys, so the cinematics didn't really go on for as long as I expected them to, but this is the arrival nonetheless. ILS-27 is going to be our approach. We're going to be doing that via Pigot. And the star is the Pigo 1 Juliet. So we can go ahead and select that. So the Pigo 1 Juliet star for ILS-27 with the Pigot transition. Execute that. We don't currently have any discontinuities, that's perfectly fine. It's a bit of an unusual approach, so we may have to skip some particular waypoints. See if we can speed things up a little. 109.35 is the frequency that we need to tune to, which I'm going to do right now. Might as well just activate that immediately. Transfer and transfer. With that, we can select the minimums. So it's going to be 482 on both sides. There we go. I think we'll use auto brake 2. We're configuring nice and early today. No destination path, I'm not really bothered. What else? We can probably go ahead and select the landing flap speed. So 142 at flaps 30, or flaps 30 at 142. That gives us 147 if we add the wind correction on there as well. So 147, there we go. Now we are quite far away, so there is a potential that that could change, but nevertheless, look at that. Lovely, lovely clouds. We are quite frosty on the ground, so I have decided to activate the anti-ice. And I'm not entirely sure when you're supposed to do that, at what point or what distance or whatever. But nevertheless, we are 150 miles shortly, coming up on 150 miles away from our destination. So I'll catch up with you guys once we begin the descent into good old EGNX. Okay guys, so we are literally approaching that 150 mark now. So we're going to go ahead and request to initialize our descent.
Requesting to descent Ryanair 4459.
Ryanair 4459er. Descent to flight level 340.
340, it's only 1,000 feet difference, but there we go.
4459.
Lovely wing view.
Ryanair 4459.
That's what we're going to be doing. That's where we are at the moment compared to the route and everything.
Descend into flight level 230. Ryanair 4459.
230. There we go. We're going to go into level change, and we're just going to zoom out a little bit just to see at what level we're going to be at the correct altitude. And I think I might try and let VNav do that for us, actually. Let's just have a look. Should be okay. Hopefully VNav will be able to manage it. So flaps 30 at 141. That's obviously going to be 146 now. Only a 1 knot difference, but it's still a difference. Auto brake 2. We can say that we're descending now to the cabin. So that's the anti-ice. I've enabled that because I'm not entirely sure what's going to be happening, but all I do know is it says 2 degrees. So it's not 0 degrees, which is freezing, but just in case. Right, okay, so progress, we should be arriving at 12:29. It's 11:55 now. So not too far away. So I will catch up with you guys in just a little bit when we're ready to land. Okay guys, so a few things changed. Pro ATCX and UTL, Ultimate Traffic Live, are no longer with us. They didn't tell us to descend in time, and we were literally rushing to descend, which I'm having to do now. So I decided to take manual control. It's a bit of an issue with Pro ATCX at the moment. It does need updating, but I'm not sure how to update it correctly, because every time I try, it tells me that I've got old installation files, so I'm going to have to try and sort that out. I did it before, and it was a little bit of a complicated process to get hold of the new installer for the latest version, so I'll have to do that at some point soon. Nevertheless though, we're going to manually take this down without ATC or traffic. That should aid the frames actually. VOR lock is enabled. Speed's coming back nicely. We're at flaps 5 at the moment. Moving on to flaps 10. Speed brake is armed. And we're going to go gear down and flaps 15. Wonderful, look at that. Got a power station there to our right. Nice effects coming from that. Bring that speed down to the final approach speed now, and we can start taking the flaps down as well. So flaps 25 and flaps 30. Look at that. Approach mode is enabled now. Glide slopes coming in. Second autopilot enabled. Just 10 the cabin again. Logo and wing lights, I'm going to switch those off as well as the taxi, because I've got decent visibility now. Oops. Okay. Maybe not. Maybe not. Let's just put them back on. We'll leave those on, I think. I was hoping the visibility would be okay. The reason that I've enabled the second autopilot is in case we need to do a full auto land because of the visibility. I was expecting low visibility. It might be okay. And we're also going to disconnect the autopilot if we do a little bit later this time. We're not going to do it at exactly 1,000 feet. It's in the real world, it is entirely down to pilot preference and down to procedures. They have a particular procedure in every aircraft that is the minimum altitude that a pilot has to disconnect the autopilot if they are going to perform a manual landing.
1,000.
So there's 1,000 feet. I believe that's how it works anyway, but yeah, I'm pretty sure not all pilots immediately take full control at 1,000 feet. Some will probably wait, especially in low visibility conditions. Nevertheless, we're looking good. Speed's good. Tiny bit fast compared to the 143 that we've set it to, but it's perfectly fine. Disconnecting now. Aircraft is mine. The pappies are, for some reason, telling me that I'm a little bit low. I probably am, to be honest.
400.
But I'm trying to follow the diamonds there on the glide slope.
300. Minimum.
Continue. 4 reds, not looking good at all.
100.
But visually it's looking fine.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Touchdown. Reversers are green. Nice firm touchdown. $80 knots. I'm going to take manual braking from here. Disconnect the auto brake. Managed to keep the centre line quite well as well. I'm really impressed with that. Possibly a bit low. We hit 50 feet just before the runway threshold. But we managed it. It's perfectly fine. We can take a look at some of those replays once we get out of here. Take this exit to the left. And we're going to have to park up and find a parking space as well, because we don't have Pro ATCX to tell us where to go. Welcome everybody to East Midlands, where the weather is a lot different. It's 2 degrees compared to Malaga, which was about... that wasn't much better, to be honest. It was like 7 degrees, but it was definitely warmer. And the weather was a lot nicer. So we'll stop here and take a look at some of those replays. Okay guys, so I was quite impressed with that. The landing was okay despite being a little bit low on final. We can start the APU, do a little bit of cleanup here. Strobes can come off and everything. We can bring the flaps up. Transponder can come off. And we can see those flaps on the way up now. Beautiful. Right, okay, so probe heats can come off. APU bleed. What else? Can clear that warning. And I think what we will do is just take it straight to the gate. We'll clear up the MCP a little. Turn all that off, there we go. Change over the frequencies as well. Clear the warning one more time. Parking brake released. And we can go ahead and taxi to the gate. I don't know where I'm going to go. I'm just looking at EFB at the minute. EFB unfortunately doesn't tell you what airliners actually use what gates, which would be incredibly helpful. We can stop the clock as well. It'd be incredibly helpful to know a simple thing like that, because free tools such as Little Nav Map, they do actually tell you that if you hover over them, whereas I don't think Avlasoft's EFB version 2 actually does that, but I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if anybody knows how to enable that feature, if it exists at all. That would be incredibly helpful. You can see that power station to the left there, just out of the left window. I'm going to switch off the anti-ice because we don't really have any icing conditions on the ground by the looks of it. But look at the smoke coming up from that power station, just hitting the layer of clouds there and disappearing. It's quite cool. So if we go to the right here, slow down a little bit. Suitable parkings. I think I'm going to use gate 15. I don't need to follow me. We'll use service air. For some reason Ryanair doesn't exist there, so it's probably not the right gate. But nevertheless, gate 15 appears to be the one for us. Which appears to be nice and set up for us. Shadow there coming off the tower. We're going to switch off the taxi and turn offs now, just before we actually turn into the gate. Little bit of stutter, nothing major. Performance is absolutely fantastic overall. Remember that stutter and stuff like that, it's not all about FPS. It's about how smooth the sim is. And although we've got high FPS because of the insanely powerful CPU, unfortunately P3D's architecture prevents us from getting the smoothest possible simming experience at the moment. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter how powerful the machine is. That's something that currently can't be helped. But nevertheless... Oops, no, need to go a little bit further. Too much power, probably. I always do that. And there. Almost. Parking brake set. We can transfer the APU power. We can, oops, cut the engines. Seatbelt signs off. Probably doing this in all the wrong order, but I really don't care. Can open up the ISO valve. We will go ahead and connect ground power just to be safe, because I'm going to switch off the APU and everything. So select ground power, switch off the APU. What else? Fuel pumps. Switch off the logo lights and the wing lights and everything. Switch off the anti-collision, even though we should wait until the hydraulics have been disabled first. Packs. And I think we're going to leave it at there. So we're going to request deboarding, if I can get my words out. Here come the trucks and everything. Yeah, we've got an air stair on both. Or a staircase on both, should I say. So open both the doors and the cargo. I will switch off the yaw damper as well. And with that, everybody... Oops. Don't know what that said. There we go. With that, welcome everybody to EGNX, or East Midlands Airport in the United Kingdom. Thank you very much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed. I am really enjoying the visuals and stuff that are coming from these shadows and stuff like that. Absolutely phenomenal performance coming from the i9 system. Cannot wait to try it out in some more airports and some more scenery as well. So thanks again guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.